Thanks for being here, Linda. We're just waiting. We're a few minutes early. I was just getting ready. Now, Linda, I reckon we know each other. If you want to use the chat box, just let me know a bit more about your business, what it is you do. Just as we wait for it to turn to 10 o'clock, I'll go and grab a drink. You can if you want, absolutely. You can be on camera. That'd be great if you wanted to join me up here. We have met, yes. I thought so. I'm thinking you're a photographer. I could be wrong. You are a photographer. Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming along. Have you managed to download the material that I've provided this morning? If not, you can grab that now, or you can grab that after the event. Fantastic. Eco Blue Photography, what a cool name.
Oh, hang on a tick. Maybe I can speak and it'll just not fire up the chat. How are you going, Rebecca?
I'm going well. How are you?
Oh, God, that's so much easier. Look, I think I'm good. I'm good. I've done about, how many webinars in the last week or two, and every day I get ready, put the makeup on, get all dressed and everything.
Yeah.
And then you get onto them and none of them are through camera.
Oh.
So it's you just sit there and you chat and you listen, and that's fine by me. And then this one morning where I have to be quite frank, I've left my pajamas on.
Love it.
And I'm like, no camera today. No. I thought I'd get up and put some laundry on and do everything else before having a shower and do that later. And one morning that I don't present myself is the one morning where we have the opportunity to be on camera.
It's called Murphy's Law.
It is. He haunts this place, I tell you.
But I recognise the voice. So thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you.
We've got Tim just joined us as well. And it has just hit 10 o'clock. So I'm going to get straight into it. Tim, if you want to come on camera, please do. You're more than welcome to join me. However, if like Linda, you're not prepared, that's quite all right. Perhaps use the chat panel to let us know a little bit more about perhaps your business, if you've got a business up and running. And because what I'd like to do as we go along, ask you guys some questions and get some feedback from you guys as well. And of course, you can ask any questions as we are going along. And of course, we've got 15 minutes at the end where it's just one big Q&A session. So I hope that sounds all right to everybody. And what we're going to be doing is going through. Now, Linda, you're still unmuted, and that's fine, because I'm just going to ask you a quick question. What do you see? Do you see your name really big on the big screen?
Sorry, I missed that. What do I see in?
On your screen, can you see me as a big person, or is it just a few of us as thumbnail?
I've got the 4 squares, so I'm in gallery view as opposed to speaker view.
Okay,
so yeah,
no
you can just alternate between the two.
No,
yeah, I can see obviously yourself at the top, and then I've got the 3 boxes, and then we've got screen sharing. There you go.
All good, all good. Yeah, we're going to go to screen share. Why not, hey?
Beautiful.
And I'll just make that a lot bigger. So for anyone who's wondering, I use Canva. I use the Pro version. You can still get a really good package and options and benefits and features using the free version, but I just spent a lot of my life on this. So there you go, if you're not already using it. Okay, let's make this much larger. Welcome, Giorgio. Thank you so much for being here this morning. Just for the benefit of others, if you want to use the chat panel and just let us know what your business is, that'd be amazing. And we'll make this bigger. So hopefully you guys have downloaded this workbook. If not, you can always go back to it. But what I put on here is key, absolute key, this quote. We get what we focus on to the exclusion of everything else. To the absolute exclusion of everything else. And that is why business planning is just so important, because it brings our focus in from this perhaps a messy picture, a big picture, these crazy great ideas and these crazy not so great ideas, it brings it in to a actual focus, something that we can tangibly, hopefully, pick up and look at and remind ourselves and work off of. So it is 90 days. And why is it 90 days? So in the chat, what I might do is I might just stop sharing the screen so we can go back to... In the chat, just let me know. No one else is typing, no. Just let me know if you do business planning already. Okay, and you might be asking yourself, why does Sharkie Marketing focus so much on business planning? And the answer is this: it's because everything stems from this, okay? Because so often, and I can put my own hand up here, is that as business owners, if we're working by ourselves, especially for some reason, we do tend to just jump in and do the doing. We get busy, we do stuff, we have knee-jerk reactions to things. We could be easily distracted, and what 90 days does is it brings it down into a really manageable chunk that we can continuously bring our attention back to. Good morning, Natalie. Thank you so much for being here. So that's why we focus on 90 days. It brings this really big, sometimes it could be overwhelming chunk of information, this big goal, and we're able to break it down into something that is more manageable. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you know, if you're like me, perhaps every year you set these amazing goals that you want to set, either in life or business, and then 5 days, 10 days, 15 days down the track, it's all gone out the door. It's all forgotten about, because that's just the way we are. If it's not in front of us, if it's not on our radar, it doesn't get seen to. So let me know in the chat if you guys can also, if you resonate with that. Now, for me personally, I've been using 90-day business goals for the last 4 to 5 years in my business, and it really has kept me focused and going on a trajectory up, as opposed to flatlining or even going down, which is where we really don't want to be. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to take you through this, and we're going to start on the first page. So what I'm saying here is that we're in uncharted waters. At this particular time, we've never gone through something like this, where the whole world is locked down to some degree and extent. And it's really unusual. I never thought I'd see the day where we just didn't have football on, where we didn't have basketball on. I'm speaking as a parent, where I would have my weekends were pretty much free of kids' sport. It's really unusual, and it's affecting absolutely everybody. So again, if you guys want to start using that chat and coming back to me, letting me know that you're there, that'll be fantastic. Now, I wasn't affected directly, meaning I didn't need to close my business. However, I have been affected indirectly in the way that my clients have been affected. Perhaps they've had to close their business, perhaps they can't trade anymore, or the way in which they were trading is now completely different for them. So indirectly, I have been affected by this pandemic. And to tell you the truth, when I'm listening to webinars, when I'm tapping into YouTube and these wonderful authors, Stephen Covey and Jim Rohn and Michael Gerber, I'm not sure how he pronounces his name, but the common thread amongst that is oftentimes when we are feeling really uncomfortable, when we might feel as though our backs are against the wall, that's when really great change and really great growth can occur. And for some of us, we may feel as though we're in that position right now, okay? And that's okay. I'm saying that is fine. That's absolutely perfect. I've done some of my best stuff when I felt as though my back is against the wall, and I have no option but to go forward. And with this, we can go forward with an actual plan and strategy. So Linda's done a great introduction there. You know what I say, when there's more than 2 business owners in a room, it's a network meeting. So let's use this opportunity now. For those of you who are live, pop in the chat who you are and what you do, and that'll be fantastic. We get to know a little bit more about you. Might even look you up. How good would that be? So it is a fantastic time. Okay, so we can start our 90-day plan today, tomorrow. We can wait until the 1st of the month. We can wait until the 1st of the quarter. Okay, so anytime, at any stage, you can reset your business. Now, I was chatting to Linda just briefly before we began, but she was telling me that she was had tapped into some previous webinars. So, as you may or may not know, the City of Whittlesea have put on a number of webinars. Now, there are two particularly that I'd love you to go back and have a look at. I was able to catch most of those two webinars. The first one was about marketing, and now that was only yesterday, and so I think if you go to their YouTube channel, you'll be able to catch that webinar. On that particular webinar, I believe it was Daniel, gave some really great ideas on how we can pivot in our business, how we can create new income streams, how we can change the way of delivering our services, and perhaps creating new products. So that is something that I'd love you to have a look at, because what happens is when we go to those other areas, finance and marketing, we can bring them together and we can start planning. Okay, so the other one was, I believe, by Amy. It was about finance, and the key takeaway that I got from that, and this is something that I work on with my clients, is knowing your numbers. Like right now, who can hand on heart say exactly that they know exactly where they are financially? I know I can, and I know my clients can, because that has got to be the best and the most direct indicator of how your business is going. Okay. Linda's saying, yeah, Daniel was great, very informative, yeah, and very real, absolutely. And again, he's got a free workbook that you can work through as well. So please go ahead and watch those when you can. So the key messages there are, when we are business planning, I'm going to bring them over into business planning now. When we're business planning, we do want to know exactly where we are financially, where we are, how much cash in the bank, and then projecting figures forward as well. So not just knowing where we are now, but where are we going to be in 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months' time. So that is something I think Amy has also got a workbook you can tap into, please, okay? Because as we turn the page on my particular handout, the first thing I want you to do when it comes to business planning is reflect, and reflecting on not only where we are now, but also now is the time to recognise your achievements, okay, of what you did in the first quarter from January through to March. And what we want to do, that's just firing up those neurons of, hey, we've had a success. Hey, we've had achievements before. We can do this. So if you're game, I don't have too many people chatting to me, but that's okay. But if you're game, perhaps just pop something in the chat about what you are proud of in your business, something that you created in your business that you're proud of, because we've all had success to varying degrees, right? And if there's one message I just want to put out here as well, is that when we're doing this, we're never comparing ourselves to anybody else. Right now, everyone's, well, all the time, everybody's running their own race. Simply when it comes to planning and doing your numbers, I want you to own your own stuff and be honest with yourself, because that way you're going to get a true picture and you're going to get a true vision going forward, okay? So please be completely honest, and no one's judging you, no one's wanting to look at your numbers or even look at your goals unless you choose to. No comparisons here. We're all running our own race, okay? So this first step is, number one, to acknowledge the achievements that you've done, that you've had in the immediate past. And two, because we're in this time right now, we really do need to sit back in our businesses and go, okay, what's going to work now on, from now on? Can you still do that thing? If you can, great. What does that look like? If you can't, if you found that your business services have ceased, or some of them have ceased, how can you, excuse me, how can you create another income stream? Is it from taking that same thing that you now can't do and delivering it in a different way? Or is it taking that thing that you used to do and taking a completely different direction? So I was speaking to a photographer just recently. She does newborn babies. And of course, her work, as soon as there was this distancing, it's really gone flat for her. So what she has done in the last few weeks is really, really great. And you might have your own stories to share, whether you're doing it or you know somebody else who's doing it. But what she's doing is she's actually gone online and she's showing business owners, entrepreneurs, how to take really good photos with their iPhones. Okay? Because as a business owner, that's something we all want, is quality photos to put out there in our marketing. She's teaching us all about lighting and all about angles and things that I would have no clue about had I not realised she was doing this. So that is a fantastic pivot. Love or hate the word, it's one that's been thrown around a lot now, but that is a pivot that she has done in her business. I know there's a business in Epping, they make gin or some sort of alcoholic beverage. They've gone into making sanitizers. I mean, how fantastic is that? So really think about how you want your business to look, because we don't know how long this is going to go on for. And to be honest, what I'm saying to myself is, this may not be the last time in my lifetime that there is something so significant like this again, okay? We might be locked down again in another 3 years or 5 years. And how do I want my business to look? Personally, between you and I have lost income. So how do I avoid that next time? Perhaps it's creating a program, perhaps it's creating a membership. How is it for you? If you're face-to-face, you deliver your services face-to-face, oh, my apologies, here's Amanda. What does that look like in the future if this is still continuing, or in 5 years' time, the same thing happens again? What does it look like? What can you do? So this moment of reflection is really setting you up, is really allowing you to acknowledge where you've been, what you do well, and what you could potentially do come the future. So because it's such an important part, and what I hear is that so many people don't actually work on their business. They work in their business, they get back to customers, they push things out, they bring customers in. They're always doing, constantly doing. Planning it is such an important part of your business. It's said that for every 1 hour planning, you can save 7 hours in the doing. Okay, now that to me is just that's like a whole work day for me, my 7 hours, right? So that is why I place such a huge importance on doing this planning. So whether it's today, whether you've got time after this webinar to pop aside an hour, that would be amazing. If not, when is the earliest time that you can just block out 1 or 2 hours in your day, either this week or next week, sometime soon, to work on this? I think it's super, super important. Okay. Right, now what have we got? Oh, we've got someone who does copywriting, SEO, fantastic. I'm just going to have a look on my... Natalie, welcome. Ormy Media, fantastic. Guys, check out the chat here. Natalie's just shared what she does. And for those of you who have just joined, please do share with us what you do. This is a networking event as well as an educational webinar, okay? So let's make the most of it. So the first step is to reflect on. The next step, the next thing that we want to look at, number 2, on page 4, is identifying your week. Now, a week is a wildly important goal. A week is the thing that is going to get you out of bed each morning and get you back in and in the mindset of, I'm a business owner, I'm showing up, I'm turning up, I'm doing the do. I'm planning on whatever it is. It's the thing that motivates you. It's your driver. It's when everything goes to pot. It's like that one thing you can grab a hold of, that you can remind yourself of, that is going to get you in the mood for and motivated for, give you the direction for getting back into working on your business. And I think right now, what this pandemic has done for us, so many things, so many good things has come out of this pandemic. for me personally, you might relate, is that it's highlighted the gaps in my business. It has highlighted the gaps in my business. The other thing is too, is that it's forced me to go back and go, you know, what is the purpose of my business? What are my wildly important goals? And really reflect on that. Does it still remain the same? For me, yes, it does. It still remains the same. However, it's those gaps that I'm going to be working on for sure. Amanda, hello. Welcome. Thank you so much. And Amanda's a photographer as well, of course. I know, Amanda, thank you so much for coming on. So we're just talking about setting that thing, making that, identifying what it is for you that is your driver in your business. Now, when it comes to identifying what your goals are, you just need, please just choose one to be your wildly important goal. And for me, without revealing everything, without giving away the whole farm, it's about living the lifestyle that I want for my boys and my rescue animals. That's what the driver is for me. Giving them and creating a really great life. That's what drives me in my business, amongst other things, but that's top of my list, right? So what I want you to do is, the first thing is to identify what it is that really, really drives you. And then, now I do get some pushback on this, but whatever. It's interesting. I want you to attach that to a financial goal. And there's a number of reasons. The main thing is because at the end of the month or the week, the month, the quarter, the year, your finances tell you straight up, no bullshit, whether you've got it or whether you didn't, whether you made it or whether you didn't, whether you got close or whether you didn't. So that's particularly why I like to set financial goals. It also then allows me to break those financial goals down into, well, what does that mean on a monthly basis? What does that mean on a quarterly basis? Again, it's all about bringing that big picture and bringing it down into one streamlined focus for everybody, okay? So create the financial goals. So for some people just starting out, or for some people where it's a part-time gig, it might be a $10,000, a $30,000 goal. For others that are in full-time and that are expanding, it could be much larger, and that's up to you. There is no comparison. We're running our own race. We're not racing against each other, okay? So there's no right or wrong. It's whatever you feel comfortable with. And if you set a figure and you feel comfortable with it, then take that to the next level and increase that by a percentage until you start to feel a bit uncomfortable. All right, that's ideal if you can do that. Say your income level was, your goal was like, let's say 120, because it's a nice number to divide by 4. 120,000. Add a bit more on. Add a bit more on and shoot for that. Because, you know, even if you don't get it, but you get really close, how good is that? So have a bit of fun with that. Set something, whatever it is. Don't dilly-dally around it. If you want to share your number on here, share it on here. If not, don't. But just write something down. Write that financial goal down. And then when we're writing our week, we're being really specific. So it's for me, my work year ends pretty much around the second week of December. And because back in the old days when my boys were at school, that was when they would finish school. So, and I still kind of stick to that. Why not, right? You know, my work year ends in the middle of December, and by that time, I want to have achieved A, B, and C. So we're being super specific. Now, once we've got that week, as we're going along, just jot down any questions. I'm just going to pour myself another water, and I will come back to you. Now that we've got that big week, right, it's this really big idea. And with any big ideas, there's lots of moving parts. Yeah, just makes sense. So what we need to do is we need to acknowledge if we're feeling any overwhelm. We need to acknowledge if we are feeling a bit, that's a big one. Or I don't know whether I can do that or not. I don't know whether I'm shooting too far or too low or whatever it is. Just acknowledge those feelings and just go with them. Just go, this is going to be it. And we're going to break them down into quarters. So we're taking that big thing, and what we're going to do now is we're going to reverse engineer it. So if it's the end of December, middle of December, and I've achieved this, what are the 4 big milestones that have to happen in my business? Okay, now apply it to you and your business. What are the 4 big milestones? And those milestones are goals. Okay, so what are the 4 sub-goals that you have to achieve? Now there's space there, and you might only know what it is for this quarter and the next quarter. You don't have to fill everything out. Just do what you know, starting with current quarter. And then if we turn the page over, you get where I'm going with this. I'm going to ask you to set monthly goals, okay? So for me, as an example, let me give you an example. Oh, Amanda's put in here, 12-month goal is $320,000. That is fantastic. Your figure is fantastic. It is, I love that. So Amanda, you've got something solid there that you just simply break down into quarter goals, okay? I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Anyone else, bang it up there. So monthly goals. So if I want to achieve, so for me, last year I invested in a particular piece of software, an events platform, and I had plans on bringing that into my business come September, perhaps, you know, July, September, whatever it is. However, given what's happening today, I brought it in, and I'm just, you know, like the duck paddling madly beneath the water. I'm really working long hours and putting in a lot of time getting a product up and ready for that particular service that I want to be offering. So my monthly goal is 1, understand this piece of software. Number 2, how am I going to market it? And number 3, how am I going to bring clients in? So they might be my 3 goals in relation to that service for a particular quarter. So 1 goal each month, you know, understand the platform, market the platform, onboard clients. I want to hit those goals. And you guys know, I know a number of you are in business and have been for years. How many things does it take to create, market, and get out a new product or a new service? So Tim, welcome. Thank you so much. Tim's Tech Service. Awesome. Technical equipment repairs in the medical field. Oh, test and tagging of electrical equipment. Good to know. Thank you so much. Feel free to drop your websites down there too, guys, because I want to be checking some of you out, that's for sure. So we're breaking it down into monthly goals. So what we're doing, we're taking this big thing, quarterly goals, monthly goals, okay? Again, you don't need to fill in every part. You don't need to fill in exactly what your goal is for December. But just for now, if you can put up your first 2 to 3 monthly goals, you're in a better position than the majority of people out there who are not doing the planning. And when you're not doing any planning, I tell you what, there's a lot of time and effort wasted on products, on services, on potential business partners that is just down the tube when you realize that it's not aligned with where you want to be going, okay? So please, I just can't stress enough. I love that you guys have taken this time out. The next step would be to take a block of time every week out of your business, out of your day. Might be on a Friday afternoon with a glass of wine. Might be on that Monday morning before everyone gets up and it's all noisy and it's full on. But even just structure your week so you have that time to work on your business, to refresh your plan, to refresh your brain, okay? Because the beautiful thing is when we have got that thing to focus on, what it does is it activates part of our brain that sits in the back of our head, back of our brain, and it goes, okay, oh my God, Rebecca is looking for a bright orange 4-door car, hatch, let's say. And what it will do is it will seek out those 4-door bright orange hatchbacks that I'm looking for, and everything else will be deleted or generalized because it's a bit like a GPS system. It will show me the thing that I'm searching for. So identifying that week, identifying your monthly and quarterly goals is going to delete and distort everything else from you, and it's just going to draw in. And the feedback I've had is once people have done this, they say to me, I just have got so many opportunities right now. Chances are those opportunities have always been there, but because you're focused on that one thing, you notice that one thing, and everything else is just dulled down, which is fantastic, because I know as an entrepreneur, tell me if this is you as well, I do get excited with shiny, bright objects. Okay, I do. So this keeps me on track. Now, something that I've been practicing in my business, and this is what I encourage all my clients and anyone around me to do, and I want you guys to do too, even just do it next week and see how it goes. You can check back in with me, that's cool, is to set each week 5 things that you're going to do in your business come hell or high water. I want you to name 5 things that in this particular week you're going to do and get done in your business that are 5 things, 5 steps, get you 5 steps closer to your week. Now, if you do this every week, so I do mine on a Sunday and I post them up in a group that I'm in. They keep me accountable. If you do this, that then is on your radar. That then is going to be showing you ways and opportunities of achieving those things. And you know what? If you do this every week, you're going to, I can't do the maths on this, I don't know, 52 weeks, 50 weeks, you're doing 2,500 things. No, not 250. I don't know the maths. You're doing a lot towards your business goals every week if you can do that. So that is the basic structure of 90-day business planning. And again, I want to encourage you to go back to the marketing and the finance webinars that were held previously and come back to the planning and do your planning. Because in this particular time, none of us have ever been there. But what is key is know your numbers and understand what is going to continue working for you in your business, what is not going to work for you in your business, and where you can create something awesome and new in your business. And if you want to think like I do, I think that this is not going to be the first time. So I'm looking at the big picture. In 5 years' time, if this happens again, am I going to be okay? Because this time I took a hit. And I am okay, but I didn't like taking that hit, okay? I hope all you guys are doing really well. I really do. Now, number 7, on page 13, we're going to have a quick conversation, I'm just looking at the time, around our habits, our standards, and our beliefs. So if the following statement is true, what's the following statement? Is that the results that we are experiencing right now are as a result of our previous thinking. Then if that is true, and it is true, rhetorical question, it's true, the results we're currently experiencing now are a result of our thinking in the past. Then if we want results that are different to where we are today, then we must think differently. Does that make sense? Drop a quick yes if that makes sense. I hope I explained that right. If we want to see different results, we've got to do different things. We've got to think different things. And this is where habits, standards, and beliefs are so important. Awesome. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Tim. Awesome, awesome. Thank you, guys. So we must look at, after we've had a look at that big wig, what new habits do we need to implement? So what I noticed for myself is that probably my 3rd or 4th week, I found really difficult. I found really difficult on a mental and emotional level. And so I kind of took to Netflix, and I don't think I'm the only one. Now that could have turned into a really bad habit. But at that time, that's what I needed. But it did make me think, when I started noticing this is not cool, this is not the way to go, it did start me thinking, okay, Rebecca, I've got these new goals. What thing can I do on a regular basis is going to take me closer towards my goals? So have a look at the habits that you currently have. Get rid of the ones that don't serve you and create ones that do. So what I realized, and what I've been doing in the last few weeks, is that every morning I start every morning with a webinar, something like this, where I can learn, where my brain is activated, I'm filled with enthusiasm, and I want to work on my business. It gives me that sort of kick up the bum, that drive to get stuck into my business, to apply what I'm just learning. So for me, I'm going back to that. That worked really well for me last year, the year before. Do a webinar. That's mine. What's yours? What are your habits that you need to implement? Is it a case of, well, you know what, I'm going to get into the habit of every day I'm going to post across my 2 social media platforms? That's a pretty good habit to have. It could be that you read just 20 pages of a business book, a development book, something that grows your intellect. And I say 20 pages, or it could be 20 minutes, because oftentimes I find myself, I actually end up reading for an hour and a half. And there's nothing but benefit for me in that, as long as I'm reading a business book, of course, which I do. I generally don't read anything else. Sad but true. But, you know, I love learning. I love books. There you go. So what are the habits? What are the standards? So standards are rules, a bit like rules. And sometimes we know our standards, which is fantastic, but sometimes we don't. And we only know when a standard has been broken when somebody crosses it. Or we start sort of beating ourselves up because that's not what we usually do. So a standard is that, so for example, that you make it your thing that you tidy your desk, you leave your desk clear at the end of the day, or that you tap into your goals each and every day, which needs to be a habit, and your standard needs to be you do it come hell or high water. It's a really fantastic thing to have, trust me. And then beliefs. What beliefs do you have around the goals that you've just set for yourself? Okay, because if you're looking at that and you're feeling a little bit of fear, a little bit, oh, that sort of feeling where it makes you sort of breathe in and start breathing again. What is that fear around? And honestly, we're human beings. We do have fears, whether we acknowledge them or not. And to be able to understand what they are is key, because what we can do, if we can say to ourselves, you know, my fear is that I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. Why would anyone tap into my stuff? Why would, when there's so many other people out there doing the same thing, I'm not good enough? Well, first of all, let's not compare, okay? Remember that, don't compare. We all bring something different and unique to everything, whether it's bookkeeping, accounting, marketing, whatever it is that you do, we all have our own unique experience and take on that thing that we offer, and that we can do in a really cool way. And people, there's always someone out there for you, okay? Trust me. So understand your beliefs, and that if you do have fears, if that fear is I'm not good enough, I want you to take that, write it down, and then write it down the flip way, the opposite way, so it becomes an empowering belief. You know, I do know my stuff. I've been doing this for 11 years. I've been, you know, whatever it is, write down that new belief, okay? And that is something, if you're creating new beliefs within yourself, ideally, I want you to be looking at them every day, when you get up in the morning and when you go to bed at night. There's a lot of books and work out there around creating new beliefs, all right? But that is one quick way. Write the belief, flip it, create the empowering belief, start believing that, start focusing on that, right? So your habits, your standards, and your beliefs. And then finally, track your results. So this is where we're using an online planner or a physical planner, and in that planner, here's mine. I put it in something like this so that I can fold it, I can shove it in the car, in my handbag. It goes on me on trains, planes. If I'm waiting for the boys, it's just easy to use. And I have these every 90 days. I have different ones, right? But they're all the same. Inside is my planner and my tracker, okay? We want to track how many, if you can track these 3 things, how many new leads you get each week, how many of those leads you actually ask for business, and how many clients have you got at the current time. Okay, so for me, it's Friday. I do my numbers on Friday. Friday is for finance. Just makes it easy to remember. So on Friday, I do my numbers. I look through the week. I look at my landing page numbers and other numbers and how many leads have I got. It's black and white. You've either got them or you haven't. And out of those leads, did I go back and say, hey, I've got this thing. Hey, come work with me. Hey, this might really suit you. Asking for the business, okay? Because we actually do need to ask for the business, literally ask for the business. And then out of those that we ask for business, how many jumped on board? How many purchased? How many signed up? How many people said yes? Now, these numbers will tell a story, and that story, if you're first starting out, or if your business has really been impacted, they might not look as great as what you want them to look, but write them down, even the zeros. Even write down the zeros, okay? Because we need to acknowledge exactly where we are, and we need to look at that number and say to ourselves, next week, I'm going to turn that 0 into a 1, a 5, a 20, whatever it is. So track your numbers. I do it in a planner, but I also do it on a whiteboard. I've got a whiteboard. I won't flip you around, but I've got a whiteboard on my other wall, and I update that at the end of each Friday, and I can just look at that and say, okay, things are sort of plateaued. What has to happen now? So if you don't like where you are after you've done your numbers, the next step you can take is to actually record the number of lead generating activities that you carry out each week, because it's those lead generating activities that are bringing in the leads. You got no leads, chances are you haven't been pushing out your lead gen material. I'm just going to dismiss that. That's my little timer. Fantastic. Okay, so the lead generating activities, what could they possibly be? Oh, I've even got some examples here in my handout. So you can do Facebook Lives. Okay, how many Facebook Lives do you do a week? Now, this is something I need to get back into the swing of things. It could be running a paid ad campaign on whatever platform you're on. It could be, here we go. It could be, what is it? Creating a new lead magnet. A new lead magnet might be a PDF. It might be a template. Might be a checklist. It could be a video that people can tap into and download one video or a series of videos. Whatever that lead magnet is, it has to solve a problem. It has to give value straight away to that potential lead, to that person who's asking to get to know you, because that's what they're doing. They're sort of putting out a tentative hand saying, well, you kind of look okay from here. I might just tap in, grab that thing from you, and I'm just going to see, you know, do I get value? How do I feel? Etc. etc. And there starts that relationship between of getting to know you, like you, and trust you. Okay, so the number of lead generating activities in your business each week is going to be a huge help to your numbers at the end of each week. And of course, once you do them over a period of time, then they look fantastic. But they do, numbers tell a story. Okay, so if you're not getting much growth there, have a look at what you're doing behind the scenes in your business. Have you put the time in to plan and to understand your audience, to do the research? Do you understand what their problems are, what they're crying out for? Do you offer those things? And if not, and you could, then get doing that and start by something small and introductory, just to start growing and getting a feel for the market and who's out there. So it's really important, ladies and gents, to track your numbers, to put aside some time every week. I can't tell you how excited I get at the start of every quarter. I'm quite serious in that, because I have done it for so long now that I know it works, and it's a system, and it's a few steps, and it's 1 hour out of my week every Friday. And then Sunday. So Friday, I sort of tidy things up for the week. Sunday, I get ready to go again for the week. I look at, well, where according to this should I be? Have I knocked off that particular goal? And oftentimes things are out of our control. Perhaps if there's other people involved, or as a once-off, this is happening. Some things are out of our control. The thing is not to beat ourselves up about it. The thing is to be relaxed enough to not beat ourselves up about, but be structured enough to come back and check in every week on our plans, on our goals. The more rules we have around something, life can be a little bit tougher. So if we can relax our rules to a certain degree, as long as we're still moving forward, and be flexible. And when you are looking at different things to perhaps try out in your business, because you are having to, rather than saying, or perhaps, you know, a well-meaning friend or business partner is suggesting you do something, rather than say, no, I did that before and it didn't work. I want you to take that language out of your vocabulary, and I want you to replace it with, I wonder if. Because that way our mind opens up, our eyes are open, rather than saying, no, I did that, didn't work. No, that's not for me. Okay? Because those are ways of walling yourself in. Instead, if you're offered any advice, perhaps, or you ask for advice, you might want to say to yourself, I wonder if that will work. I wonder if things have changed. I wonder if I could learn it completely rather than just having a crack. I wonder if. Are really fantastic ways to think about your business. Okay, so we've had a couple of people join us just now, so I'm sorry that you missed it, but I do know that the council are going to put the replay of this one and the previous ones up online on the YouTube channel. There is a download if you haven't already gotten it. Now, if anyone's got any questions, please go ahead and ask me now. Because this is the time. And for those of you who still haven't put in your details, please do. Please put in your website, your www, and what you do, because there's a few of us here now, and this is now really a networking event, right? So if I can help you, please put your hand up or type away in the box here, because oftentimes we're sort of thinking of a question and then we think, oh, no. But you do, ask the question, and there's other people thinking the same thing. So all you got to do is pop it down there in the chat panel. On this last page, I do make mention of if this is something that is new to you, you want help around, you can come and join my Facebook group. It's totally free, and this is what we focus on. This is what we help each other with, no matter what our business, because business planning is needed for every business. So whatever your business, no matter where you are, whether you're just starting or perhaps you want to get back on track, you've been in business for a little while, you want to get back on track, come along and join it. And we have free conversations in there on Facebook, okay? So I'll put a link there. Yeah, come and hang out over there. But if there's no more questions, oh, good Lord. Sorry, I'm just letting somebody else in now at the last hour. So maybe I'll do a quick recap. Maybe I'll do a quick recap for the people who've just joined in. Number 1, go and download this. You don't know where it is, ask me for it. Number 2, think about how things are going to be for you. Number 3, block in time in your diary to do this. So once you know what your goals are, okay, seriously, block in time. If your habit is to, well, every morning I'm going to get up and I'm going to spend 30 minutes on social media and be done with it, block that into your diary. Online, I use Google Calendar. It's fantastic. It reminds me, and it integrates with so many other of my platforms. Okay, so there's a plug for, was it Google Calendar? Know what you're shooting for, okay? And we're not running a race against other people. It's only your own race. If you're in business and you want to make $10,000 a year, go for that. You know, I was in that place one time when my boys were small. That was my big thing. Just earn me some pocket money. You know, so everyone's got different things going on. There's no right or wrong. Amanda shared with us a fantastic goal, a really fantastic thing, big goal. I'm not shooting for that, but that's Amanda's race that she's running, and there's only her in it. I say go her, you know, that's fantastic. And by doing that, we're activating the RAS. I know what it stands for, it's just a mouthful. And that means that our brains are going to literally focus on our goals and everything that will help us get closer to our goals, and will actively delete, distort, or generalize everything else that is out there to distract us, because we are entrepreneurs, we are business owners, and we can get distracted every now and then, can't we? Let's be honest. Be honest when you're doing your planning. I find it's a lot like your numbers. Doing your financial records, project the numbers that you've got now for 12 months. How do they look? If they look great, go you. If they don't, then what has to happen? What do you need to introduce? And again, that's where it comes back to tapping into perhaps that marketing webinar that was put on just recently with the different ways. And collaboration right now is massive, okay? So if you're doing one thing, and ideally what's going to happen, you're going to collaborate with somebody, you are not going to be competing against each other. You're going to have the same target market, but you're not going to be offering the same thing. It kind of doesn't work. Or if it does work, you've got to sit down and work that out. So it could be, if your target market was in the interested in the health field, interested in being kept fit and healthy, you might team up with a stylist, you might have a PT person, you might have a nutritionist. Boom, there you go. Go and create something together, a 6-week program, a 12-week program. Make sure that that stuff's online though, right? Because right now, it's the way to go. Does anyone have any questions? And you guys who just came just recently, don't forget to pop your URLs in there. Just see if there were any questions and I can't see it, just write them again. But it really doesn't look as though there is. Oh, is anyone else having a problem hearing me? I can see my thing going up and down. I have had some responses, but yes. Yes. The replays will be available on the Whittlesea Council YouTube channel, which I didn't realise they had. How cool is that? YouTube is massive. If you're not on YouTube, get on YouTube. Definitely. Audio is okay. Okay, it might just be his problem or her problem. That's okay. There we go. All right, guys, if there's no questions, I'm going to wrap up. Please feel free to reach out to me, and best of luck, okay? All right. Have a great day. Bye, guys.